So universities give us the tools to both destroy and save ourselves through general education, research, public engagement, and professional training. Universities are deeply enmeshed in global change, both as contributors and as sites of potential transformation. I like this idea of campuses as living entities. So that's a very interesting one. And therefore, also involved with this notion that you discuss of climate change and the connection to institutions and universities. The roots of the climate crisis, again, I'm reading some of the sections from your book, lie in the development of our understanding of the natural world and its dynamics, along with the emergence of values holding that scientific understanding should be applied to the improvement of the human condition, with the human conceived as separate from the rest of nature, entitled to exploit it for material wealth and comfort. So addressing climate change also relies on ideas, the challenging of these values, and the building of a new set that can support regeneration. So the question is, within this context that I just shared with our audience, based on some of the sections from your book, and when you write that universities have given us, I really appreciate this, the tools to both destroy and save ourselves, could you expand on this, we could say, paradox, and what it reveals about the role of higher education in the context, again, of our super complex societies?
Well, so I think it's widely recognized that knowledge brings power, but perhaps a little less widely accepted that it depends very much how that knowledge is wielded, what kind of knowledge we're talking about, who holds it, how it's generated, with what motivations. And so on. I think we need to look very carefully in a nuanced way around our model of knowledge within the academy and more broadly in our societies, and to accept, and it's a difficult thing for education systems and universities to accept, because they see themselves generally as having a very positive role in society. I think we do need to accept, and when I say we, again, that's a bit loaded. I think that's geographically, politically located, and certainly in certain parts of the world have significantly more responsibility than others. We need to accept that schools and universities have been complicit in the crisis that we're in. Perhaps not consciously, but historically, higher education systems have been part of the development of destructive technologies, both the basic science and the application of those technologies to the exploitation of natural resources and human communities, which has led slowly or sometimes rapidly to their destruction since the Industrial Revolution, particularly, but also before then. And secondly, that universities, and this is a rather more subtle, is that universities have been part of the propagation of a paradigm, which you alluded to in your comments there, of the human being as both separate from and entitled to exploit the rest of the natural environment for its own benefits. And so the first thing is to recognize just not that universities have caused the problem on their own, of course not, and they're also extremely well placed to address it. But we have to start from that and to think about how can we understand the impact of universities closely in order to turn around the ship and to use the exceptional potential of this institution for addressing the problem and hopefully finding a way out for humanity. And in the book, I do this through, and there are different ways in which you can carve up the institution. And I'm not claiming this is the only way by any means. There are many different ways of doing it. But I look at the university in terms of 5 different